Hello everyone, it is Jillian. Welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, hi, my name is Jillian. This is my channel in case you didn't know. Today's video is a little different. Something that I've never filmed before, but I saw someone film. I'll link her video below. And I thought it was so cool and I wanted to do it for myself. So in today's video, I'm actually going to be going ahead and scratching off a scratch map with all of my places that I've been in the world and telling you some of my favorite stories that go along with those places. Shout out to Ryan for getting me this for Christmas. Love you. Here's the scratch map. It's been rolled up for quite a while, so I'm going to be scratching it with nothing less but a US penny. Criteria for this map is been there for more than an airport, because I've been to Canada when I was flying over to Europe, but I didn't leave the airport, so I'm not counting that I've been to Canada because that's not fair. But first we have to start with the United States because clearly that's where I'm from. The US is my home frontier, clearly if you can't tell by my accent. I'm from Maryland, which is on the East Coast, right above Virginia. And right above DC, Washington DC. So if you know where the president lives, that's where I live. America is not my favorite country in the world, nor do I think that we are the greatest country in the world. We have a lot of flaws and I do not appreciate them. So there's the US. There you go. That's where I'm from. And then we'll start with the first place that I ever visited, which is going to be St. Thomas, which is down here with the St. Martin, St. Vincent Islands, and the Bahamas. Me, my dad, and my brother all went down there when we were little, and it's just so beautiful there. The water's blue. A woman in our group, well, a family friend, stepped on a sea urchin, had to be rushed to the hospital. That was the first time I ever drove on the other side of the road. I ended up getting car sick. Great time. I wish I would have been older so I could have taken better pictures, but it was fantastic. I loved every moment of it. And the next place that I went from there is probably going to be London. I went to London the summer after my 8th grade year, so 2016. Most of the trips I've gone on are with my school. We went to England. So we flew into London first. So we flew up to Canada out of Washington DC, and then we flew over to London. We spent 2 days there, I believe. I just remember that we got off the tube. We stepped foot. We were in London for about 10 minutes and it wasn't raining. I said, oh my god, this is a lie. And then we had a torrential downpour and I didn't have an umbrella. But the next place that we went was France. So of course we went to Paris first. I actually did not enjoy Paris that much. I just thought Paris is a place where you either love it or you hate it, I believe. But I just thought that it was dirty, except for the fact that it was also really bad weather, so I'd really like to go back when the weather was better to see if I like it anymore. In France, on the outskirts of France, I don't even remember what town we were in. We were in this random little town, and it was the first day of summer. So if you don't know, in Europe, the first day of summer is a really big deal. So we're in this small little town, and I don't really feel like going out. And my friends convinced me to go out, and we stumbled upon a concert stage in the middle of the town square. So we're like, let's stay and see what this is. And it ended up being a rock concert where we were just dancing and having a stupid time, and then the singer of the band ended up seeing us, bringing us up on stage, having us pump the crowd out and up and shouting at us in French, which clearly we didn't know. And the night ended with me stealing the lead singer's sweat towel. That was a good memory. Also that night I met a very cute French boy who I shouted out my window to. I was very tempted to go to his place of work, which was a winery. However, I didn't. And that night I also broke my phone. So we're not even halfway through my trip in Europe, and I have no phone to talk home or take pictures with. So, yeah. I think next was Switzerland. So we stayed in Switzerland, and we stayed in this house up in the Alps, like up on the top of the mountain. I didn't have a phone, so it didn't matter, but there was no connection, no Wi-Fi. But there was a huge field out back, and I just remember playing soccer all the time. Switzerland was really fucking crazy because the hotel had a a rooftop deck that you could get to. So we kept going out there all the time, and I would climb out my window to get out there, but then I'd also like lock other people out there. And I just remember stars were crazy, but that's not the only reason why Switzerland was crazy, because we ended up going up, I think Mount Lucerne or something. While going up on the train, we actually saw someone die because they had been paragliding and a wind gust hit them and hit them straight down, and they cracked their skull, cracked their helmet, and they died while we were on the way up. It was crazy. And then on the way down, we lost one of the grandmas who was one of the chaperones on the trip from the other school. And she ended up like walking around Switzerland, like not knowing like anything but English, being lost, and had to like take a taxi all the way up to the hotel, and it cost her like $50 because we were so far up the mountain. And that was really scary because we were just driving around this town in Switzerland trying to find grandma, and we're like, where's grandma, and we turned it into a game, and it was terrible, but it was something I remember. We went to France, and we went to Venice. We were in Venice, and Venice was crazy because I ended up getting lost in Venice. We took a gondola ride, and I got off the gondola, and I went down the street to go to a shop with my friends. I was supposed to meet my dad so we could go to a museum together, but the paths didn't cross somehow. Where I got back, he was gone, so I took off on my own to go find him in Venice, which is like, if you've ever been there, you know, like the bridges are overlapping, it's an island, and like it's really small like alleyways through the whole thing. So imagine you don't speak Italian, you're in Venice, which is really confusing because every way looks the same, like every direction looks the same way, and you are 14. So that's another, or 13, and you're 13. So that's something. I ended up going to the museum without him, and I was fine. I mean, I'm really good on my own. I found my way back to the group eventually. But I saw a parrot, like not a parrot, I saw a seagull eat a rat that day, so it was all worth it. So we're staying outside of Venice. One day when we were coming back from dinner, there was like this group of kids, like there was like a rec place, like a field and like a volleyball court and like a rec house. And there was these bunch of little kids playing soccer. I said, how much do you bet me to go up and like ask them to play soccer? So I ran up to them and I was like, quattro, like terrible because I only know a tiny bit of Spanish. And they're like, what? So I ended up just taking the ball from them and like running around and kicking it. And after it got awkward, I walked out. As we're walking out, this group of girls calls after us, and I think that they asked if we spoke Italian in Italian, and we're like, sorry, like we're American, like we don't speak Italian. And the one girl took English in school, like we would take Spanish or French or something. So we're talking to her, and she's like, I can't wait to tell my English teacher. Like, we're talking to them, we're using Google Translate when we don't understand, and they asked us to, like, play volleyball with them. So we ended up playing volleyball with them, and, like, going into the rec center and, like, eating watermelon with them, and, like, hanging out with them all night, and it was, like, great. I still follow them on Instagram. I think she watches some of my YouTube videos, so shout out to you. But after Italy, we went up to Austria, and we weren't really in Austria for that long, Vienna, and, that's where I got these socks. They're the nicest socks I've ever had. They're like so soft. Then we went to Germany, Munich. We were in Munich, Germany. We weren't really in Germany for that long either, now that I think about it. I don't even really remember anything from Germany, except for it was really cold there, like compared to the other places because we went in summer. And then after Germany, we made our way to the Netherlands, and we made our way to Amsterdam, and Amsterdam was great. Amsterdam is where I bought weed lollipops, Amsterdam is where I went to the Anne Frank house, and Amsterdam is where I left my trip. We went to the Van Gogh Museum. We did like all the touristy things, and I love to go back. I love to go back to all these places being older, just to like be able to remember them, because of course when you're only spending 2-3 days in a place, you can't really get a good taste for it. You can't really like know it. I'd love to live in all these places just so like I can say that I really experienced the culture. But this past summer I made my way all the way across the globe to New Zealand and to Australia. New Zealand is where some of my favorite people in the world live. It's totally an overlooked place. If you can ever go to New Zealand, I definitely suggest you should. Really grasp what New Zealand is until you go there, because it's just different from every place you can go. Most people who know me know my story of meeting my New Zealand boyfriend. Hi, Jack. We went to Rotorua and we went to Auckland, and we ended up meeting a bunch of these high schoolers, hanging out with them the whole time. Ogoing, which is like this huge like hamster ball like down a hill. We like went luging on actual asphalt, so we definitely could have died. I definitely plan on going back because New Zealand is where the parties are at. New Zealand, I made my way to Australia. Australia is a place I was so excited to go. So amazing to go. But I was kind of underwhelmed. And I think it's because I didn't really get to meet anybody when I was in Australia. And like one of my favorite things about traveling is meeting new people that you'd never expect to meet. In Australia, it just felt like another United States, except for nicer and way nicer beaches. Winter, but it was like 50 degrees. And honestly, my best memory from Australia is 4th of July. We were there, but we all dressed up in our American gear and ran around Surfers Paradise shouting the national anthem. And all the other Americans were shouting USA. And all the other Australians were running up and taking pictures of us. We ended up playing laser tag that night. I also learned how to surf in Surfers Paradise, and let me say I'm pretty good. We were in Australia and we were taking a hike. We took a break at this random place for lunch, and like it was kind of a touristy place. They're like teaching us how to throw a boomerang and stuff. I went off exploring on my own, and there was this log that crossed over this river, and I was like, let me take my stuff out. So I took my phone out, blah blah blah. I go to cross this log, nobody's around. Started like feeling a little like halfway across the log, so I go down to grab it, and I fall off the log and I fall into the river, and so I'm soaking wet when I come out of the river, and everybody's like, what the fuck happened, Jillian? And I'm dripping. I take my shirt off. I'm like, yeah, I fell into the river, and I had to hike the rest of the day drenched. Overall, my trip to New Zealand and Australia just consisted of eating way too many Tim Tams. I plan on going back to all these places, but first, I have a lot more of the world to explore. I know I have a lot more to go and a lot more to do. But this is where I've been so far. Maybe in the future I'll do an update of my scratching and where I am and where I'm at. Hope you enjoyed my stories of my travels. And love you guys. Please like and subscribe. And as always, have a great day.